Thank you, Mr. President, members, and the executive staff. I'm presenting to you today, and it's being passed out to you by Suki right now, a document that has been completed by the foundation called San Mateo County's Quarter Century Crisis, the Vanishing Dream of Affordable Childcare and a System at its Breaking Point. So, this is something that I have been deeply concerned about for a very long time. We have a workforce crisis that starts in the crib. Think about that. We are in the midst of a crisis. I believe we have an obligation to resolve it because it hurts everyone in San Mateo County, from families to employees to students to schools. For decades, childcare has been viewed as a private matter, a problem for individual families to solve on their own. If you couldn't afford it, you made do. If you couldn't find it, you rearranged your life. Over the last few years, the views have shifted. The wider public is finally acknowledging what parents have always known. Childcare is not only a family need, it is a public need. It is infrastructure. It is as essential to a functioning community as roads and bridges, clean air, clean water, yes, and even transportation. The Wall Street Journal last week confirmed what most of us know. Childcare is too expensive. But what they also provided me with was kind of choking information. San Mateo County is the 5th most expensive child care in the country. So the median cost in the U.S. generally is $44,000 over 0 to 5. In San Mateo County, it's $128,000. We invest millions in infrastructure, but pennies in childcare. Even though the county has agreed on its top priorities, family and children and seniors, and emergency preparedness and housing and homelessness, the lack of childcare investment has resulted in a system where low-income families struggle to navigate limited subsidies, and middle-income families earn just a little too much to qualify for any financial assistance. They are stuck with the crushing cost of care. It's time to invest in childcare to boost our families in San Mateo County, our workforce, our economy, and truly our future. And I believe we can do that. Let's see if I can work this. So this report, as I indicated, was commissioned by the foundation. The American dream shouldn't collapse when the baby arrives. But that's what's happening. 81% of parents in San Mateo County say childcare affects their work. 60% have cut back on their hours, and nearly 50% have left the workforce entirely. A large percentage of them women. In fact, the numbers, new report is out. The numbers in 2022 said that 15% of women were leaving the workforce. It's actually now 25%. For those parents, the cost of childcare swallows so much of their paycheck that stepping away from work is the only sensible option. Let's look at the numbers. The median cost of infant care in our county can easily be $30,000 a year, more than tuition at a public university and more than housing costs for many families. For parents with more than one child, the cost multiplies. Even if you're part of the small universe of families who qualify for subsidies, you are still hit with extreme costs. So what happens? What do parents do to pay for childcare? Well, the exorbitant and often unanticipated costs drive families towards financial instability. Many slash their savings and retirement accounts or accrue debt. Families who are able to manage the costs face yet another hurdle, competing for one of the few coveted spots available for their child. San Mateo County is facing a deficit of nearly 9,000 child care spaces. Infant care suffers the most, meeting only 69% of the demand. So if we look at where the greatest need is it's 0 to 2, and it's after school care. Our child care system is fragmented, duplicative, and so complex that a family can spend weeks or even months filling out several different applications, each with its own rules, deadlines, and documentation. It's not uncommon for families to contact 7 providers to find an opening for their child. So, what about subsidies? They exist, but many families who need them don't qualify because they earn too much. In a county with one of the highest costs of living in the nation, the cutoff for assistance eligibility is well below what it takes to make ends meet here. Families who earn even a few dollars above the threshold literally drop out of the safety net. And as Supervisor Mueller mentioned, he's got a constituent who's about to leave their job because of it. It's what's called the benefits cliff. A single mom with one child can't earn more than $82,000 a year to qualify for subsidy. A family of 3 can't make more than $93,000 a year. Mind you that it's $109,700 is considered low income for a single person household in San Mateo County. These numbers don't add up. The benefits cliff is most devastating to the middle class. The people who we presume are making a decent living are left struggling to meet basic needs, let alone build wealth. They are college educated, working full-time, contributing to their communities, yet they face skyrocketing costs and impossible choices. But let's look at a family who's getting subsidized care. You know, we think of it as, oh, that's a solution for them. Frankly, it's not really a solution for them. All right, there. Oops. All right, let's look at a low-income family, Sophia and Michael, who bring in a combined income of $102,000, making them eligible for child care subsidies. After federal and state taxes, retirement contributions, Social Security, and insurance, their monthly take-home is roughly $6,000. Their $4,000 rent takes up 2/3 of that amount. Even after subsidies, childcare for their infant and toddler costs $1,500 each month, leaving them to stretch $500 for groceries, utilities, gas, car payments, and baby supplies. They face a monthly deficit of $3,000. Miguel could take up a second job on the weekends, but then they would lose their subsidy. It's important to point out that we have a deficit of 23,000 subsidized childcare spots, neglecting some 55% of the need. Let's imagine a middle-class couple, a teacher and a law enforcement officer. They earn $216,000 a year and have 2 toddlers in care. After housing, childcare, and essential living costs, their monthly shortfall is $2,100. And that's with both parents working full-time in what we would call essential public service roles. They are paying close to $5,000 a month for childcare. So what happens? Well, we've seen it happening already. Families are leaving this region. Some families see no other choice than leaving San Mateo County. Since 2010, 10,000 people have left the county. They take their children, their tax dollars, and their economic contributions with them. The resulting communities are what economists call barbell communities. Extreme wealth on one side, deep poverty on the other, with nothing in the middle. Others say, but they decide not to have children. Others stay, but then they decide not to have children. Nearly half of the childless adults say financial pressure is the reason. Here in San Mateo County, our birth rate has been declining for more than a decade. This is, if you look at this chart, it shows that over the course, we have lost almost, I think it's 10,000 people in terms of birth. Demographers warn that to maintain a stable economy, families need to average at least 2 children. Fewer children now means school closures, fewer workers, and fewer taxpayers tomorrow. So San Mateo County is losing $775 million in lost productivity. This 15% decrease in the female workforce due to childcare related issues, as I indicated, the numbers actually jumped to 25%. A loss that lowers family income, strains employers, and weakens our economic foundation. So, what do people in San Mateo County think? Across party lines, across generations, childcare can't wait. This is the good news. Residents overwhelmingly support investments in childcare. 82% of San Mateo County, across party lines and across generations, say when we put children and families first, we all thrive. So, there are solutions. This is not the first time our nation has navigated a childcare crisis. During World War II, women were needed to fill the workforce because men were sent to fight the war. The federal government established over 3,000 child care centers in just 2 years under the Lanham Act, serving more than 600,000 children. These centers were open long hours, included health and dental care, parent education, even laundry services. They were born out of necessity, and they worked. If we could do it in the middle of World War II, why can't we do it now? I suggest that we can. The U.S. military has maintained this approach long after World War II. It now operates the nation's largest and most extensive employer-sponsored childcare system, serving 200,000 children and securing a $1.1 billion expansion in 2024. So, what can we do? We can actually do a lot. Creating a childcare portal would be a really important first step. That's a centralized childcare portal, a single point of entry where parents can search for licensed providers that meet their needs, see real-time availability, compare costs, program types, and language offerings, apply for multiple programs with one application, and determine eligibility for subsidies instantly. I think the county office is working on this, and my understanding is that Linda Wolin is in the process of doing this. I mean, we can take the software off a shelf and put it into operation. This would solve so many problems for families. Think of it as a common app for childcare. Versions of this exist, but there's room for improvement. For example, family daycare homes are often not listed because they lack the business support to build websites or promote their services. I've been in contact with resources which can provide these benefits to our family daycare homes for $1,800 a year per family daycare home. We could help subsidize that and help these family daycare homes offer their services to a larger universe of families. The county, a centralized child care portal will give parents a single doorway into the child care system, but behind that doorway needs to be a solid structure. So what else? TriShare is a concept that has been implemented in a number of states. We need money to build a strong system, and we need to get creative on where we get that money. We can learn from success stories in other places. A fairly new concept that emerged after COVID is TriShare. It's a triple partnership between parents, employers, and the government, who evenly split the cost of care. Michigan was the first state to try this as a pilot in 2021. When employers invest in childcare for their workforce, it's a game-changing business strategy. There's a lot of information about this in the report that you've received. Parents stay on the job, morale improves, and businesses benefit from a stable, committed team. In other words, childcare isn't charity, it's smart economics. TriShare is designed to target the missing middle, working families who earn too much for subsidies and end up falling through the cracks. In Michigan, this includes families earning between 200 and 400% of the federal poverty level. Families who are forced to pay $2,000, $3,000, and even $4,000 a month on childcare will reduce their costs by 66%. It's already proving its value. In Michigan, families saved an average of nearly $6,000 per year in 2023. Employers are reaping the benefits too. 82% of participating employees say they're more likely to stay in their jobs, and 63% of the employers report improved rates of retention. Michigan lit the spark that caught fire. Other states have taken the idea as well. Many of these statewide initiatives got their start at the county level. I think San Mateo County can launch a tri-share pilot if we show employers how this innovative concept benefits them. Michigan has been receiving national recognition for this program, but you know how much they're actually spending? $3.4 million a year. It's literally a drop in the bucket. What could San Mateo County do if we committed $10 million, for instance? The question remains, how can we fund vital child care initiatives? We can follow the models of Alameda, San Francisco, and Sonoma counties, and they passed sales taxes. San Mateo County could add a quarter or half-cent sales tax that would generate $60 million a year at a quarter cent, or $120 million a year for a half-cent sales tax. We could increase the vehicle rental tax by 1.5%. Now, where does this vehicle rental tax come to? It's at the airport. And we could generate $7.5 million by just increasing it 1.5%. We'd have to go to the voters, but we could certainly do that, and it would be no skin off of anyone's noses here in San Mateo County. This increase would be paid by tourists and not burden our county residents. We can use Measure K funds. Since family and children are one of the top priorities identified at our retreat, that would be another way of funding this. So what are our neighbors doing? Childcare is a pressing issue across this region. We can look to our neighboring counties who are addressing it. Alameda County has stepped up a half-cent sales tax for early childhood education. It's going to generate $150 million annually. Even with the highest sales tax in the state, and that's Alameda, 65% of Alameda voters approved this measure. San Francisco's commercial rent tax dedicated to early education generates $146 million a year. And you can see Sonoma County has done a quarter-cent sales tax. Santa Cruz, not quite sure about this one though, 2-cent sales tax on distributors of sugary drinks for youth services. Okay. So it was, as it was pointed out by Linda earlier, county has used HUD funds to create 3 sites. Regrettably, there's not one in the middle of the county. We need to make an effort to make sure we can do that. Midway Village and Daly City will have spots for 109 infants through preschool, and Middlefield Junction in North Fair Oaks will have 36 spots for infants. Arroyo Green in Redwood City now has spots for 78 infants through preschool. So the message is really loud and clear. Families need our help. Supervisor Gaucher and I launched our listening tour this month to hear from parents and providers, and their voices are loud and clear. They need our help. We have estimated that 50,000 children younger than 5 live in our county. We may not be able to help all of them immediately, but let's start somewhere. I propose we launch a pilot for infants ages 0 to 2. Brain development in the first 3 years is so crucial. A child's brain doubles in size in the first year, and by year 3, it is 80% of the size of an adult. Investing in our children is one of the smartest ways to invest in our future. San Mateo County should be a place where all children and families truly thrive. Let me conclude by a personal comment. When I was a young mom with a 5.5-year-old son and a newborn child, my husband was killed. If it wasn't for the fact that I had Social Security survivors benefits of $2,000 a month, I would have had to leave San Mateo County. But it was what was able to allow me to have childcare. You shouldn't have to lose your spouse in San Mateo County in order to have childcare. We have an obligation, colleagues, and I know we've got a matter on the on the agenda this afternoon about a half-cent sales tax for transit. I would encourage us to recognize that this is just as important and probably much more important for us to invest in. Thank you.